Ephesians 6 verses 11 and 12 say, "Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." I was led to this verse along with Daniel 10 verses 1 through 18 yesterday morning, which was March 27th, after speaking with a friend about how I feel like God has me in a season of waiting. I'm relying on Him and trusting on Him even more after seeking Him out. And I'm currently in this waiting period. And I wanted to share these verses and the revelation that God gave me for those who also feel like they're waiting on God. And in Daniel 10 verses 1 through 18, Daniel fasts for 21 days and hopes to seek the Lord and have his prayer answered. And after the 21 days is up, an angel appears towards Daniel. He comes upon him and says, "Do not fear, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words." A clear message coming from this chapter, or this verse in particular, is that it shows Daniel's persistence and determination in seeking God. He doesn't give up because of the silence and the uncertainty of not knowing when his prayer is going to be answered. This is the time, if you're in a waiting season, if you're in a waiting period, not knowing whether God's answer to your prayer is yes or no, it's wait. This is the time to rely on Him even more, pray even more, have more faith in Him that He will provide, that He will answer your prayer, regardless of if it's yes or no. This in turn deepens your faith and trust in Him because you acknowledge that your patience and endurance of suffering or waiting will be rewarded. And whenever I think about going through tough times, through tribulations, I'm always reminded of John 16 verse 21, which reads in the New King James Version, "A woman, when she is in labor, has sorrow because her hour has come. But as soon as she has given birth to the child, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world." This verse to me is saying in a way that when you finally get to the blessing, when God has answered your prayer, again, whether it's a yes or no, because if it's a yes, it's something that will glorify Him. If it's no, it means that He has something better for you, because He's always going to give you what you need, what you desire for His glory. And what I feel is being said in this verse is that once you finally get to the blessing, you can then look back and be like, yes, I went through that pain. I went through that suffering. I endured through it. And a lot of people give up, but I didn't give up on my God because I knew that He would not give up on me. The ability to be able to say that you didn't give up when things got tough, that you continued to have faith in God, that He would provide the blessing, it's that much more meaningful. It will feel that much more meaningful because you didn't give up on God. And going back to Daniel, the reason why the prayer took so long to get answered, according to the angel, was because of spiritual warfare. And I remember after reading this verse yesterday and then going back to my friend and being like, of course, that's why. Of course, there's a delay because of the spiritual warfare. The more you seek God and pray and you're trusting in Him, the more the enemy is going to try and want to get to you, the more that you're going to have difficulties, the more tribulations you're going to have, because that is how the world and the spiritual realm is set up. There's, like it says in Ephesians, we're not just fighting against flesh and blood. It's what's going on in the spiritual world as well. So then the question is, how do you fight this? How do you combat this? It says it in Ephesians. You put on the armor of God, you pray more, you lean into God more, you read His word even more, and you can say in your heart that you trusted in Him till and beyond the day that He answered your prayer. It's also good to acknowledge that God's timing is perfect. He's never going to give you the thing that you need too early or too late, nor is He ever going to give you too much to handle. Trust that God has heard your prayer from the first day that you prayed it, and continue to be in communication with Him, continue to talk with Him and rely on Him and wait on Him and trust in Him and have faith, because in His perfect time, in His right time, He'll answer. I pray that this message gets to whoever it needs to today. Thank you, and may God bless.